Good evening. China says it summoned the Philippine ambassador following President Bongbong Marcos's congratulatory message to Taiwan's President-elect Lai Ching-te. Marcos on Monday said he looked forward to close collaboration with Taiwan after Lai's presidential victory. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Mao Ning on Tuesday says Marcos's remarks are a serious violation of the One China policy, adding that the Philippine ambassador to China was summoned to provide a responsible explanation.
马克思总统的有关言论严重违反一个中国原则和中非建交公报，严重违背非方对中方所做的政治承诺，粗暴干涉中国内政。中方对此强烈不满，坚决反对，已于第一时间向非方提出强烈抗议。今天上午，农容部长助理召见菲律宾驻华大使，提出严正交涉，敦促非方给中方一个负责任的交代。
The Department of Foreign Affairs early Tuesday had reaffirmed the Philippines' commitment to the One China policy, explaining that Marcos's message was a way to thank Taiwan for hosting overseas Filipino workers. For its part, Malacanang echoes the DFA statement on the Philippines recognizing the One China policy. However, Mao urges the Philippines, quote, not to play with fire on the Taiwan issue, saying Taiwan's election results will not stop China's eventual reunification.
台湾地区选举结果改变不了两岸关系基本格局和发展方向，阻挡不了中国终将统一也必然统一的大势。我们正告非方，不要在台湾问题上玩火，切实恪守一个中国原则和中非建交公报，立即停止在涉台问题上的错误言行，停止向台独分裂势力发出任何错误信号。
The Philippine government remains committed to the One China policy as it explains President Bongbong Marcos's congratulatory message to Taiwan's new president. Both the Malacanang and the Department of Foreign Affairs stressed this after Marcos on Monday congratulated Lai Ching-te for winning Taiwan's presidential elections, saying he looked forward to cooperation with Taiwan's new administration. Marcos's message came a day after DFA reiterated its commitment to the One China policy following Lai's successful presidential campaign. According to DFA, Marcos's message was his way of thanking them for hosting overseas Filipino workers, noting that the Philippines and Taiwan have mutual interests, including the welfare of almost 200,000 OFWs on the island. Nevertheless, DFA reaffirms the Philippines' commitment to the One China policy. China has been claiming that Taiwan is part of its sovereignty. Taiwan has been insisting it is not, asserting that it is a country that has democratic process. The Department of Transportation and Land Transportation and Franchising Regulatory Board urged the Supreme Court to dismiss for lack of merit the petition filed by Pistons. Transport Group Pistons' petition challenges the legality of the government's Public Utility Vehicle Modernization Program. The transport group is asking the Supreme Court to issue a preliminary injunction, arguing that the various directives and issuances regarding the modernization program violate their rights to freedom of association and the voluntary nature of cooperatives. In a 65-page comment, DOTR and LTFRB, through the Office of the Solicitor General, say Pistons' petition should be dismissed outright based on procedural grounds for failure to follow the hierarchy of courts. According to the Office of the Solicitor General, the petition should initially be filed first with the lower courts, stressing that the Supreme Court should be the last court of resort. It added that the petition also lacks the necessary requisites for judicial review, such as the absence of an actual case or controversy, lack of legal standing, and delay in raising constitutional questions. Regarding the supposedly illegal issuances, the Office of the Solicitor General says it represents a valid exercise of police power necessary to address the current disintegration and inefficiency in the country's public transportation system. Health Undersecretary and spokesperson Eric Tayag says the gastroenteritis outbreak in Baguio City is now officially contained. Tayag says the Baguio City Health Office recorded at least 3,000 cases of diarrhea in the city based on online self-reporting, adding that only a few of the patients were hospitalized and no fatality was recorded. However, the Department of Health official notes that some of the water samples collected for testing were positive for fecal coliform. He explains that fecal coliform originates from a sick person and may have been the cause of such an outbreak. Tayag likewise says the Baguio City Health Office detected isolated cases of norovirus and sapovirus among the diarrhea patients, but they have since recovered. Agriculture Secretary Francisco Tiu-Laurel Jr. says there is no budget for cash aid to help farmers who incurred financial losses. There have been reports of farmers in the Cordillera region facing difficulties in selling their produce due to huge supply and low demand. Last Thursday, the wholesale price of cabbage dropped to as low as 1 peso per kilo based on the monitoring at the Benguet Agri-Pinoy Trading Center in Benguet's capital town of La Trinidad. In a palace briefing, Tiu-Laurel says there is no fund right now to help vegetable farmers regain their lost capital. It is unclear if the secretary is referring to the budget for 2023 or 2024. On the other hand, in cases of oversupply, Tiu-Laurel says farmers can either store their produce or the government can buy their products and sell them in Kadiwa stores.
As of now, wala dahil we are technically there's no fund to help them. But once what I have discussed with FTI just the other day is and including Kadiwa is pag natayo na natin yung storage, either itago nung farmer yung excess production nila sa storage, whether it's subsidized by the government, that's to be arranged, or the government buys those excess product at a certain price to be distributed through Kadiwa and everything.
The Agriculture Secretary then assures that the government continues to look for ways to assist the vegetable farmers.
As much as possible, we're trying to find ways to matulungan sila, of course, no. I think that's the job of the government. As of the moment, our team at the DA is trying to figure out what we can give them. And as far as cash ayuda is concerned, I'm actually not a believer in that. I'd rather give farm implements, no, like seeds, fertilizer, something else.
Defense Secretary Teodoro says the Philippines and Canada will sign a new memorandum of understanding to bolster military ties. According to Teodoro, this memorandum of understanding would allow closer collaboration like training and exercises between both countries' militaries. However, Teodoro explains that strengthening Philippines-Canada military relations has nothing to do with the tensions in the West Philippine Sea, noting that Canada's stand on the matter is already clear.
Increased defense cooperation between countries like the MOUs we have with other countries. They have already been straightforward with that anyway. I mean, they support our stand with the arbitral award, and they support our stand in the West Philippines.
Canadian Ambassador to the Philippines David Hartman also confirms the looming signing of the Memorandum of Understanding. According to Hartman, Canada wants to work with the Philippines in enhancing the country's capacity to protect its people.
No, I just think, the threat is pervasive. The threat is global, and Canada is a stalwart friend and partner of the Philippines. So we want to be able to work with our friends and partners to augment and enhance the Philippines' capacity to protect its people, to protect its citizenry, and to protect itself.
Here's the latest roundup of today's top stories. China summons Philippine ambassador after President Marcos congratulates Taiwan's president-elect Lai Ching-te. Gastroenteritis outbreak in Baguio City now officially contained, according to Health Undersecretary and spokesperson Eric Tayag. And QCPD issues public apology after leaked Ronaldo Valdez video. And these are the stories you need to know today. I'm Neil Mercado. Follow INQUIRER.net on Facebook, X, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Reddit. For more stories, visit INQUIRER.net. Good evening.